The invasion of the Normandy coast of France by the Allies on 6 June 1944 was an enormous and complex concatenation of the land, sea, and air forces of the United States of America. Great Britain, Canada, Free France, and Poland. The loss of lives on that day still horrifies us, but their sacrifice began the final phase in the attrition of Nazi power that had begun in North Africa and continued in Sicily and Italy. And Hitler's misjudgments about Russia helped us to ensure the downfall of an odious regime that had enslaved Europe. But my topic here is one small action at the west end of the Omaha beach sector, thought to be a sine qua non for a successful outcome to the landings. I had visited that battle-scarred area in the spring of 1957, just after the completion of the cemetery for the soldiers and sailors of the United States who fell that day. Then I did not appreciate fully the valor of the men who attacked a well-armed enemy entrenched in reinforced concrete at the top of a cliff. But in 2005, I returned, and this time began to realize the awe-inspiring bravery of the men who had trained to do the quasi-impossible at Pointe du Hoc. This is their story as I described it in a DVD recounting my experiences on an autumn tour. The walk from the bus to the cliff face of the Pointe du Hoc showed all of us what appears to be the insuperable obstacle presented by a 100-foot cliff to be climbed while under sustained enemy fire. These aerial photos make strikingly evident the enormous advantage that the cliffs gave the defenders. But a broad swath of terrain back of the cliffs had for several days been torn up by very large bombs from aircraft, and on D-Day morning had been pounded by projectiles fired from a battleship, the Texas, in a bombardment that ended only an hour before the young men of the 2nd Ranger Battalion attacked. No tract close to the sea was spared, and as you see here, the effects of the rain of projectiles are still very apparent. But the partial destruction of their defensive works did not stop the German garrison, by coincidence reinforced on June 5th by combat infantrymen on a training mission, from dogged attempts to hold their positions and later to regain them. Here are photos of the remains of a number of the reinforced concrete structures comprising the strong point, most of them partially below ground. Now only tourist attractions, they include anti-aircraft and machine gun posts, as well as subterranean living quarters and a cliff-edge command bunker for the control of the big casemated guns. Their numbers show the great importance the Germans attached to control of the high ground of the coast of Fortress Europe, and in particular to the 5 cannon that could fire a 98-pound projectile more than 12 miles. Here is a photo of one of those cannon. As the label indicates, it is a model K418, widely used in the French Army and Navy. One of the original 6 at Pointe du Hoc had been put out of action by bombing in April 1943. On D-Day, rifle and machine gun fire and hand grenades killed 15 Rangers as they crossed the narrow shingle beach to the foot of the cliff and climbed it using ropes and ladders dangling from grappling hooks atop the 100-foot cliff. Continued on Part 2, Rangers.